Sibilance. I don't care.
Hello and welcome to episode 26.5 of the Never Heard of It podcast. I'm Craig Moorhead.
And I'm Shawn Harwell, and this is, another little bit of fun fact-finding missions and info on some stuff that you probably have heard about or will hear about very soon.
You can find us online at our website, neverheardpodcast.com. You can find us on Twitter at neverpodcast.com. You can find us on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
You can find us on the YouTubes.
Mm-hmm.
There's really almost nowhere you can't find us. Take a look. And on Facebook, for goodness sake. Find us there and like it, and then subscribe to this podcast, and then send us all your money.
That's right. And while you're doing that, you can also listen to episode 26, where we talked about the Hungarian movie from 2014 called White God. That is our most recent full episode. And Craig, I don't know about you, but I had a nice time this past weekend hanging out with you in the mountains of not Nashville, Tennessee. I don't think there's any mountains in Nashville.
There aren't a lot.
But where we actually were was the Pigeon Forge Gatlinburg area, which is always exciting.
Indeed.
And we knocked out not one but two episodes, special episodes that will be coming up. So people have that to look forward to.
That's right. It's really cool. We have some cool guests. We have some cool hosts, sort of guest hosts. It's gonna be a party, man. So yeah, over the coming weeks, you'll be hearing more about that.
That's right. Well, and also in the coming weeks, let's get right to our first topic here. We've talked about this movie before, but they released the very first actual footage teaser for Trainspotting 2, which I gotta, if they keep doing these, like I guess the next one will have like 3 shots from the actual movie, and they'll just work their way up to a full trailer. Could take, a year. The movie does come out in February of next year, so there's definitely still some time there. But gotta say, even that one shot, just seeing those guys again, it made me excited. It worked. I liked they got the Iggy Pop song in there again. Those bright colors, that font. I mean, I remember that so distinctly from the advertising campaign of the first one, seeing the paperbacks in the bookstores of the different colors, and got me kind of excited. What did you think?
Yeah, I felt very much the same way. It's exciting to see those actors all together. It's interesting that they're advertising it this way,
I know.
in a sense, because I feel like as big a mark as Trainspotting left, and I really like that movie a lot. It's like they're almost doing teasers for this movie that's just anticipated by hundreds of millions of people, and I don't think that's true. Like, I feel like
I agree.
Anyone who didn't see the first one, I don't think these teasers anyway are even for them at all. It's kind of interesting. They're kind of feels like they're making these just for like this small group of people who would be excited about it, which is great.
Yeah, I agree totally. It's like it's like a tease for a franchise or something.
Yeah.
And that's not what I took away from the first one, but I like all those actors. Again, as we talked about last time, very curious to see what they do with the story. I just saw Johnny Lee Miller in the BBC did a version of Emma, the Jane Austen novel.
Oh, yeah.
It was about 4 or 5 episodes. He was really, really good in that. And he's not an actor that I've necessarily kept track of or paid that much attention to. And honestly, he wasn't even one that stood out to me that much in Trainspotting. He played Sick Boy. I was always more of a Spud guy. I think, Ewan Bremner is really interesting. But yeah, he was great. So yeah, we'll see what happens in February, I guess.
And that's interesting you bring that up, because actually Kyung and I, for a good long while, were watching the show Elementary on CBS that has Johnny Lee Miller playing, modern day Sherlock Holmes. And yeah, he's fantastic.
I remember having conversation with a woman from Scotland, probably in the year 2000-ish, okay? Well, Trainspotting came up, and she said she saw a stage production of Trainspotting prior to the movie coming out, and Ewan Bremner played Ewan McGregor's character, and he was fantastic. And Ewan McGregor played Ewan Bremner's character.
You have out-trivia'd me.
And I can't help but wonder, as I did when I heard this story, if the reason they got flip-flopped for the film was because Ewan McGregor is, let's face it, slightly more handsome than Ewan Bremner.
Possibly, but man, that still seems odd for an indie movie about heroin junkies.
That they,
It's like, you know
they
what,
want their lead
though?
to look good.
Our lead better be attractive. I don't know.
Well, it worked, whatever they did, right?
It surely did. Now here's one last thing about this.
Okay.
Shawn.
You're not going to out trivia, are you?
No. I'm not even going to touch trivia. Okay. Not for this movie. You've won outright. Okay, here's the thing. Now, no one is actually going to mistake one movie for the other here, but they keep advertising this as T2.
I know.
Everybody knows that's Terminator 2.
Everybody knows that.
So, I don't know. I don't know where that leads. I'm just asking questions.
I don't like that choice either. I certainly
the first one wasn't known as T.
No.
So, anyway.
Well, a lot of people, oh man, did you see T? They just abbreviated it.
Right,
that way.
maybe. Yeah. Maybe it was kind of a short.
No. Well, it was Terminator wasn't known as T or T1, was it?
No, that's true. That's absolutely true.
Either way, I hope that perhaps this teaser is the last time where they use that.
Yeah.
If it's anywhere near the title, it's a mistake, I think. In the official title.
Agreed.
In fact, I kind of hope it's not even called Trainspotting 2. I wish it had just a completely different title.
That I feel the same way.
Well, that's neither here nor there. I'm just excited to see the movie.
As you should be.
Speaking of other movies,
yes,
that I'm now actually kind of excited to see. Mm-hmm. There was a trailer released for a movie from M. Night Shyamalan, and yes, I'll be the first to admit that it's been a while since I've seen one of his movies. Been modestly excited about one, but he's got this new movie called Split coming out, where it appears James McAvoy. Did I say his name right? McAvoy. I said McAvoy for some reason. Okay. Perfect. McAvoy plays a man who's got 23 different personalities, and he abducts 3 teenage girls. On the surface, I don't like that synopsis. Like, there's something. Right. 23 is a lot. That's a lot.
I'll say this. Aside from, like, the kidnapping part of the synopsis, it sounds like a hilarious movie.
Really? For sure. So I say with pause, I'm excited. There's a chance this could go off the rails. But I love the look of the trailer. I think there's some classic kind of Shyamalan, Sixth Sense era kind of fright to it and dread in that trailer.
Sure.
Some very stylish shots. I like the look of the cinematography. And I think it's an interesting step for him because it seemed like with the last movie he made, which was called The Visit, which I also have not seen, looked very, very small and had like a webcam component, which immediately made me not want to see it, I gotta say.
Yes.
Sorry to say. And I know it was done, I think, for Blumhouse Productions, which is the big production company behind the Paranormal Activity franchise, as is this movie. And so, I don't know. I think, there's a part of me that's hoping, let's get another Sixth Sense or Signs or something that has that kind of what he was really strongly good at in those first couple movies that he made, for being scary, but having like a psychological component to it and, a sense of drama to it. And I'll go ahead and say, if there's a twist ending, I'm okay with it as long as it's good.
Well, yeah, I haven't seen The Visit either. And I did kind of have that same feeling. Like I saw the webcaminess. I saw it was from Blumhouse, and I'm not a huge fan of the movies they put out generally. But then it got it. I mean, Shyamalan is in this spot where just the fact that movie got any positive word of mouth completely turned my head.
Yeah.
I was like, really? So everyone's not just coming out and trying to destroy this movie immediately. So that means it's got to be kind of good. And then it made tons of money.
He's had a target on his back, I think, from, I guess, maybe The Village on. Definitely around Lady in the Water.
I would say after Signs.
You think after Signs? Well, The Village was after Signs, but probably even within Signs itself, although I liked that one a lot.
Me too.
Yeah, I think by the time The Village came around, which I thought there was a lot of interesting stuff in that movie. I really liked the lead performance.
Me too.
I still don't know what to make of that ending. It felt cheap to me at the time. I've only seen the movie once, but you had that. I remember he was on the cover of Time magazine. Is this the next Spielberg? It seemed like every movie that
Yeah.
came out had that trailer, and the very first thing in the trailer was his name, and then his name was above the title. And there was some weird fake like documentary that he made for one of these movies, maybe Lady in the Water or The Village, that just was like, it seemed like it was trying to tap into like a Blair Witch kind of thing, and that just
Oh,
failed.
really?
And then I remember hearing story or reading about how he would send an assistant with a briefcase handcuffed to him to fly the
The
script,
script.
for Lady in the
Yeah.
Water out to Disney and make them read it in the room, and just being floored by the fact that they didn't want to do it or whoever it was. And so it definitely painted the picture that this was a guy whose ego had kind of got the best of him after having
Sure.
such a huge success.
What I like about his stuff is that it can be sort of very grounded and even like just deliberate and slow. Like Unbreakable is a tremendously slow movie, like just moving.
Yeah.
But I like it a lot. Um, but he's also one who will be very audacious in the things that he will have happen in the movie at the same time.
Right.
Like he's not afraid to do things that are you could even call ridiculous.
Yeah.
But just go for it. And I mean that in itself kind of makes the movies a little bit exciting. So yeah, I mean I'm totally on board for this. I wish there are a bunch of filmmakers I feel like I wish would just on purpose, just as a discipline, do some movies where they really slim themselves down and I don't know, make smaller movies every now and again. So anyway, I'm looking forward to see what happens with this.
Well, let's talk briefly, and we'll wind this down here, kind of as we always do, by looking ahead at what's coming out this week. And you got a big weekend
Mm-hmm.
with Suicide Squad finally coming out. It feels like it's been a
Oh yeah,
while that they've been talking about this movie.
indeed.
Trailers and all the stuff that's been released definitely garnering mixed opinions from the fanboys, as they always do.
Sure.
For my money, it looks like fun, and that's kind of
It does look very
I
exciting.
have no other expectations for anything of this sort other than that. And if it succeeds
Sure.
at that, I'm on board. Um, and I think it could be a runaway hit.
Mm-hmm.
I think it could. I think there's enough like wackadoodle stuff in it with just Jared Leto and Will Smith, and it's a weird combination of actors that I wouldn't necessarily expect to be together in any movie, let alone one about comic book villains.
It really is, and that's another thing that I was thinking about today. Because I watched the trailer, I was looking at some posters, and it felt like when they were starting to make everything felt like it was about Jared Leto being Joker.
Right.
Everything. It just felt like, okay, he's the main character. And now, like the latest poster that I've seen, Will Smith is like front and center,
Mm-hmm.
and his first name on the poster. And I mean, it's kind of that thing. Not that I want to put too much emphasis on the poster, but it's kind of like, well, what is this movie? Who is the main character? Like, how does this story work? It's just kind of funny about however it is you make up your mind before you see a
Oh,
movie.
I know.
This one has not allowed me to do that at all, which is probably a good thing.
Yeah, it's been a bit schizophrenic in the sense that, obviously with these big franchise movies, we hear so much about them before they actually come out. I mean,
For sure.
we just had Comic-Con this past weekend, and the onslaught of trailers and teasers
Oh
for
yeah.
movies that aren't even close to done shooting is kind of
Oh yeah.
absurd and overwhelming. And in some ways not fair to the filmmakers because they had to put these things out there. And it's just like, well, I haven't,
Yeah.
the movie's not done yet. I haven't figured it out. But that's part of the business, and I think I would prefer to have that sort of difficulty in pegging down what this is versus knowing exactly what it is and being tired of it before it even comes out. So I think this movie has a chance of being that. I think, Guardians of the Galaxy is maybe one that could parallel this in the sense that
Sure.
I didn't know what that movie. I don't think a lot of people outside of super fans of that comic book knew what to expect from that,
Yeah.
and what they got was a lot of fun, and that I think kind of won a lot of people over. So we'll
Well, and I
see.
think that's it. Like this does look like the first, unless I'm forgetting one. This does look like the first fun DC Comics movie.
Well, there was all the dancing in the original, the Michael Keaton Batman with the Prince music, but
You got me. You got me
yeah,
on that one.
that was kind of fun. And then the fun of Batman and Robin, obviously. But it does have a challenger
Oh boy,
in the guise of a kitty cat.
it does. This is some serious counter programming.
The movie Nine Lives, starring Kevin Spacey, who somehow gets transformed into a house cat. I don't know. I can't remember. I've seen the trailers because I saw this and pop up. I was like, what the hell is this?
Well, yeah, I researched this a bit today because I've been kind of fascinated with it since I saw the first commercials.
Good.
Because it feels like this is a movie that Kevin Spacey would not be in.
Yeah. It's got Christopher Walken too.
Christopher Walken.
Yeah.
All the stuff that I've seen in the trailer or the commercials, both of those gentlemen seem to be 100% invested. No one seems to be sleepwalking through it. Right. So it doesn't look like something that they were tricked into doing or anything.
They don't look like they're catnapping at all, do they?
No one is taking a cat nap. So, and it's directed by Barry Sonnenfeld, who has made some of our favorite movies. But it feels like a movie for very, very young children. The humor there's not really anything funny in the trailer.
To you.
To me, it looks like the story is basically that Kevin Spacey is a dad who's kind of an absentee father and kind of a jerk CEO of this gigantic company. Christopher Walken has somehow been jilted by Kevin Spacey, perhaps, and thereby puts a curse on him to turn him into a cat. And a cat is the only thing that his daughter wants for her birthday.
Right.
Hijinks ensue.
What do you think the over-under is on this cat actually dying 8 times in this movie?
That's a good question. 9 lives. I mean, you're right. You're right. If that's never brought up, it's never brought up in the trailer. But
that'd be
Shawn,
awesome.
that's maybe there's a darker side to this movie.
There's a darker side to all cats. I live with one.
Okay, so here's the question, and so far we're batting 1,000. So
0 is kind of like 1,000.
Yeah, there's zeros in 1,000. Yeah. First, the somewhat easy question, which honestly could totally be untrue. Who's gonna make more money this weekend? Suicide Squad or 9 Lives?
Suicide Squad will make more money.
It feels like it, doesn't it?
It does feel like it. Jason Bourne.
Because we're gonna meet back here, and 9 Lives will be the top of the box office.
I think 9 Lives will do better than what either of us and a lot of people are expecting, because these movies always do well.
Yes.
And family movies are killing it this summer.
They really are. And by that time, there's really not another thing that has come out.
Nope.
Everyone's going to have seen Dory and Secret Life of Pets.
And I guarantee somebody out there has done their research and knows that this will hit. I mean, like that remember the G-Force movie with the guinea pigs? Like that thing did well too. And I'm just like... I
couldn't even tell what that was.
Yeah, I mean, they just do not look good.
But here's the thing. Okay. 3 movies come out the weekend before. Mm-hmm. And you're right. They are all adult-oriented movies. R-rated movies.
Jason Bourne.
Bad Moms.
Mm-hmm.
And this other movie called Nerve, which I guess is probably more of like a teen movie. Nothing is covering the 9 Lives territory.
Nope.
So you think Suicide will be number 1?
I do.
9 Lives number 2.
Jason Bourne number 3. Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I'm gonna say Suicide number 1, Jason 2, 9 Lives 3.
I think you're probably going to be right. My like cynical nature of how many times we've been wrong before is what's leading me to push 9 Lives to number 2. So we'll see.
That's true.
Well, looking ahead to the following week, since we'll be doing a full episode, I did actually want to mention there's a movie coming out called Hell or High Water, which is directed by David Mackenzie, who did Startup, which we both liked a lot. And this one looks like a Western of sorts, a kind of crime drama set in West Texas. It's got Chris Pine, Ben Foster, lovable Katie Mixon, and Jeff Bridges. And I like all of those people. So, yeah, I'm very excited to see what this guy's follow-up to Startup is. So look for that. And as always, yeah, thanks for listening. We're back next week with a fun episode. We're going to be talking about The Comfort of Strangers, the 1990 Paul Schrader movie with guest Brian Crane. So look forward to that. Go check that movie out if you can. It was an interesting one. And it's got Chris Walken. Maybe you get your kids and you do a double feature of Nine Lives and Comfort of Strangers. They'll love it.
Great idea.